All right, folks, the Food and Drug Administration, they are about to make a major decision when it comes to menthol cigarettes as well as cigars. That's right. The FDA is proposing a rule that will ban menthol in the production of cigarettes. Officials say this is necessary to help protect public health. Nearly 19 million people smoke menthol cigarettes, according to the FDA. Most of them are minorities, folks. In the black community, nearly 85% of all non-Hispanic black smokers smoke menthol cigarettes, compared to 30% of non-Hispanic white smokers. From 2011 to 2018, declines in menthol cigarette use were observed among non-Hispanic white youth, but not among non-Hispanic black or Hispanic youth. Studies estimate that 324,000 to 654,000 smoking attributed deaths overall, and that number would be avoided over the course of 40 years. Of that number, 92,000 to 238,000 would affect the black community. The CDC says overall smoking rates hit an all-time low in 2018. However, smoking is still the top cause of preventable death. Dr. Carissa Baker-Smith, the spokesperson for the Association of Black Cardiologists, joins me now from Ellicott City, Maryland. Glad to have you here, Dr. Smith. First and foremost, one of the things that is happening right now, there is an effort underway where you have some black civil rights organizations who disagree, saying the FDA should be targeting things that white people smoke. Why are they targeting menthol for African Americans? You have some people say also this could actually impact African Americans when it comes to policing if people are selling menthol cigarettes, things along those lines. And so it's been very interesting. Like I've even had folks reaching out to me trying to get on African American lawyers and civil rights people arguing against the FDA ban. In fact, I believe Reverend Al Sharpton even sent a letter to the Biden administration opposing this FDA action.
Okay. Well, can you hear me okay?
Yep, we're good.
Perfect. So let me just first begin by saying thank you for allowing me to be on your show today. Smoking is a major risk factor for cardiovascular disease. So any argument about allowing its use in any form really has to be approached with some caution. Cigarette smoke is and use of tobacco products is one of the most preventable causes of heart disease. And we know that is associated with about $15 billion per year in a preventable death and cost to the U.S. society. So this idea that we're inappropriately targeting African Americans, I think, we have to look at who's being affected and how do we best reduce risk for use. So if a particular portion of the population is using menthol containing products, and we know that tobacco use is associated with increased cardiovascular disease, for health equity purposes, it would make sense to reduce the availability of menthol containing products. That's my first point. The second point is, this proposal that's coming down from the FDA is not meant to, in some way punish or go after members of the Black community. It does target producers and manufacturers and wholesale, those who are selling these products, but not the individual. What this is really meant to do is, look, we've all been teenagers. You don't know what you don't know. Being able to restrict those things that are harmful, that could have a long-lasting impact on one's heart health, it makes sense.
So just let's walk people through this so we can understand why are menthol cigarettes more addictive or dangerous than other types of tobacco products?
So one of the arguments that's made about menthol containing products is that the flavor is enticing. It's sort of refreshing, or other flavors that are added to tobacco products. And so that sort of entices children to use them more palatable. There have actually been studies to show that if you actually limited access to these flavored or menthol containing tobacco products, you could actually reduce the number of individuals who go on to start smoking. So the flavor is enticing, and that tends to draw more children and adolescents into using these products.
Is there any reason why African Americans and other and Latinos prefer menthol cigarettes over others?
It's a good question, and I'm not exactly sure why. And I don't know that there are studies that really look at that. It's probably preference. Overall, when you look at the percentage of the U.S. population who smokes, the majority are self-classified as non-Hispanic white. However, again, as you highlighted, that those who use menthol-containing products tend to be non-Hispanic Black. It just may be a taste preference. I'm not exactly sure, but there definitely is a difference. And I just want to bring to light, sort of, if I could, just the bigger picture here. Cardiovascular disease, which is disease that affects your coronary arteries, it's what leads to heart attack, stroke, heart failure. These are largely preventable causes of death. So the heart healthy lifestyle of eating right, exercising, keeping your blood pressure, cholesterol, glucose, your blood sugars under control. But a part of that also is not using tobacco products and not smoking. So if we can do those things beginning in our adolescent population and our teenagers, we actually can reduce heart disease burden. And we know that African Americans are disproportionately affected by cardiovascular disease burden. Think about family members, relatives, neighborhood members who have died of heart failure, heart attack. Some of that was preventable. And one of the causes of this preventable problem is smoking.
Well, this is certainly going to be quite the contentious decision. We're going to keep covering this thing as well. And so we certainly appreciate you joining us, sharing your thoughts and perspective on this, Dr. Smith. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to go back to our panel here. I'm going to start with you, Reese. It's a very interesting argument. So I was texting Mark Morial, the CEO of the National Urban League, and he said, they support this FDA decision. But again, you have Reverend Al Sharpton, who's written his letter to the Biden administration disagreeing with this. There are other civil rights groups and others who are doing it. I've had people hit me up saying that the tobacco companies are spreading lots of money in the black community to get black folks to support this, because if you ban menthol, you're affecting sales.
Look, I'm all pro black racial justice and think about how things disproportionately impact our community, but y'all need to get a fucking grip, because this is not discriminatory in a way that harms our community. It's actually not making it illegal to possess this. So if you happen upon some menthols and you really like your menthols, I guess you can find some place to get them. Child, you can go to Dominican Republic. They got all the doggone labels about how can't smoke and kills and all that kind of stuff that folks ignore. But this whole notion that this is predatory on the black community, when the black community is the one being preyed upon by these tobacco distributors, is ass backwards to me. I don't understand it. I don't support it. You look at the data doesn't lie in terms of how we have too high of use. And, people have free choice, but then we look at all of the as the doctor just laid out, the health outcomes. You look at cases where they talk about how black people are marketed, and then folks want to get paid for the fact that they marketed to black folks, but then you turn around and say, don't ban the products marketed to black folks. My head is spinning. This ain't the hill to die on. There's a lot of things that definitely target black folks. Gerrymandering for one. Ron DeSantis is down there getting rid of 2 black districts. There are a lot of initiatives that shit rolls downhill to black people first. But this ain't it, y'all. I'm not with y'all on that. I'm sorry. Not sorry.
But Greg, one of the things that people may not be aware of, especially if you are if you're millennial or Gen Z, is that tobacco money stood up black-owned media for a very long time. Those of us who are Gen X or baby boomers and others remember the ads that were being run when you did not have Mercedes or car companies advertising in Ebony, in Jet, in black newspapers, sponsoring concerts, sponsoring tours, sponsoring various events. It was tobacco companies. I remember seeing a pack of Cools, seeing those advertising. And so it's no surprise you have this allegiance to it because that's all you saw in the advertising in a lot of black-owned media outlets.
That's right, Roland. You read my mind, brother. Reese, you understand. I was hoping you were going to deconstruct it a little for us, Roland. It's 3 simple words. Follow the money. I will not resist the urge to ask whether our brother Reverend Sharpton smokes Newports or Cools, because I know he doesn't, but follow the money. Who are his sponsors for the National Action Network conferences he has? We've all heard of the Newport Jazz Festival. In other words, this is why Dr.
Newport Jazz Festival cigarettes?
Newport is the same Newports, no question. They've been doing this since the 50s. This is the thing. And one of the reasons I think Dr. Baker Smith probably couldn't answer the question as to why we favor menthol is because she wasn't thinking about what you just walked us through, which is advertising. I will never forget, after my first year of law school, I came home to Nashville for the summer, and I bought books I was reading. And one of the first books I read was Manning Marable's How Capitalism Underdeveloped Black America. And eventually I got to know Manning Marable a little bit. When that brother walked us through how Pepsi became the drink for black people, Coke was the white middle class drink. But then the appearance of flavored sodas, how Sprite dumped millions into their campaign around athletes, ball players, how red soda, which we've been drinking since your homies down there in Texas been bringing Juneteenth, became the favorite choice. Red Kool-Aid, which came out of Nebraska, became the flavor of choice. It was all marketing. We smoked menthols because they marketed us to smoke menthols. And in 2009, when the Tobacco Control Act banned all flavored cigarettes, there was one exception: menthols. So this right here, this is all marketing, and it's addictive because menthol lets you draw that smoke down in your chest and hold it a little longer, and that a little longer leads to that cancer and that heart disease. And the thing I'm looking to is the cigars. Because, see, having lived in Philly for almost 20 years, Dr. Walker, you know how you get on the corner and get them flavored Dutchies, bro. It's all marketing, man. But, Roland, you did what I hoped you were going to do, which is point us away from the medicine and toward the marketing. That's the call.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that Larry, is what we're looking at here. And so it's like I say, it was very interesting when I was folks reaching out to me, and I was kind of like, Because, see, I remember a few years ago, the National Black Chamber of Commerce got a lot of money. Well, I remember because I had, I forgot the guy's name, Harry, it's going to come to me in a second, I had him on Tom Joyner Morning Show, where they were opposing, I think there were some cities that were looking at banning the sale of menthol cigarettes in convenience stores, and they were saying how all this was going to hurt black people because it was going to drive their costs up, having to drive to other neighborhoods to buy them or something along those lines. And I was like, did we skip over the black deaths?
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Larry, go ahead.
Listen, Reese and brother Dr. Carr hit on it. Racialized marketing, right? So listen, growing up, right, Ebony Jet or billboards in the black community, you saw a cool brother with a cigarette in his hand, with a sister by his side or something. So when you saw ads like that, you're like, yeah, I want to be that brother, right? And we saw them everywhere, right? You talked about the impact, in terms of funding money that black media got. That's where you saw it, right? In some of the publications I just described. And we talked about the jazz, Brother Carr talked about the Jazz Fest and some of these other events. You saw cigarettes marketing all over the black community. Like I said, I grew up in Philadelphia, and I can remember seeing it vividly, right? And I have family members that died as a result of smoking, right? And so many of us had, if you've been around long enough. And so that's why this is so important what the FDA is proposing. And listen, you got to follow the money. I go Dr. Carr on this. You got to follow the money. When we hear black folks saying that cigarettes, which kill black folks annually and disproportionately, when you hear people say, I'm opposed to these changes, I would certainly give that person, that group, the side eye. And like I said, we need to take a look at who's funding them, conferences, et cetera, as Brother Dr. Carr highlighted. But listen, this kills black folks. And if it kills fewer black folks, we talk about Black Lives Matter. This is Black Lives Matter. We from a public health perspective, Roland, and this is really important.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who don't understand the history, well, you just saw Larissa go, what? Newport Jazz? Okay, so
Well,
I'm
it
just
was
going to
named
read
for
to
Newport
you.
City, but
Well, no, but follow me here. So this is a piece in the Greensboro News and Record on June 12th, 2015. With Lorillard no more, Newport carries on the company legacy. Years before the Lorillard Corporation created a cigarette called Newport, a woman named Lorillard sparked a powerhouse jazz festival that still looms as the foundation of a cultural movement. The Lorillard corporate name disappears today as Reynolds American completes its $27.4 billion acquisition of the Greensboro-based company, listen to this, and its prized Newport Menthol cigarettes. The company name may be forgotten as Reynolds applies its marketing muscle to the already dominant Newport brand, but for jazz fans, Elaine Lorillard might always be remembered as the founder of the Newport Jazz Festival, the musical event that launched a summer tradition for thousands of music lovers and, yes, a cigarette brand. Held in the breezy Rhode Island resort where New England's elite spend summers in mansions they call cottages, the event gave Duke Ellington, Louis Armstrong, Count Basie, and scores of legends a new kind of audience in the summer air. Now, of course, Lorillard was founded in 1760. It is the oldest continually operating U.S. tobacco company, and it was, again, when people don't realize, at that time you had significant advertising, where you had shows where people were smoking on the air, the kind of money they were actually spending. And so not only that, the women's tennis tour was sponsored by a tobacco product.
Yes. Yes.
So it was the, so when you had the lawsuits against Big Tobacco.
What was that cigarette, Roland? What was that cigarette, brother, that they had for women? They worked the tab women. I can't think of the name.
Wasn't Slims.
Virginia Slim. That's right. That's right. Virginia Slims.
It's bad that I remember Steve Market.
It was called the Virginia Slims Tennis Circuit.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. It was called the Virginia Slims Tennis Circuit. Not only that, cigarettes, they also sponsored NASCAR. So when you had, so for all people who don't have the history, they got to understand that it was a new law. It was a new law that took place in 2010 that outlawed tobacco companies from actually sponsoring events that were on television and in media. Why is that? Because those of you who are NASCAR fans, it was called the Winston Cup Series.
That's right.
It was literally named after the cigarette brand of R.J. Reynolds. And so for people like, look, we're living in this world now where there's no smoking all over the place. People need to understand how marketing, how advertising dollars, not just to black people, but how in every major endeavor, it was big tobacco's money that sponsored concerts, tennis tours, festivals, that sponsored all sorts of events. That is one of the reasons why smoking has been so addictive in this country, because they were immersed in American society where they were sponsoring even network television shows. So we'll see what happens with this FDA ban. All right, folks, back to that Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment. Hey fam, Patrol Grooming is a black-owned men's grooming company that delivers on this promise every day to men everywhere. Everything we do, every product we make is designed to help you to present your best self. It's a promise they've kept since 1991 when they first introduced the Bump Patrol brand, the #1 men's product for a smooth, bump-free shave and silky skin. Millions of customers count on their exceptional skincare products which can be found at more than 30,000 retail stores in more than 50 countries around the world. Now you can have exceptional beard and skincare products that are as unique as you. Fellas, as we prepare to head back out into the world as COVID restrictions are being lifted, it's time to get our groove back. You can visit patrolgrooming.com to order a Patrol grooming box and do this. Use the discount code hashtag Roland30. That's hashtag ROLAND30 for a 30% discount at the checkout. We appreciate Patrol Grooming being a partner with us here at Roland Martin Unfiltered and the Black Star Network. Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?